All right, here we go. We're going to look at activity 2, equations. So write an equation for each line and show all your work for this. So for no particular reason, I'm going to start with this green line, letter N. So I'm going to look at letter N here. So with letter N, I need to find the line, and I'm going to be looking at y equals mx plus b, where m is our slope. This is our slope, and b is our y-intercept. And I'm choosing this option because this is the one that we're most familiar with, that most people, it's kind of like our warm fuzzy blanket. So we're going to look for our slope, and we're going to look for our y-intercept. And those are going to be the two things that really kind of anchor in our equation here. So our slope, if you remember, our slope is the same thing as rise over run. And the rise is our y's, and the run is our x's. So I first need to find the slope for this thing. So for, let's see, let's call this line n over here. Let's do that. Line n. So for our slope, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find one of the points along here that looks like it crosses right through the corner of this of these coordinates. So that way I can find a nice easy one to go with. So I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to say, all right, this looks like it goes through the coordinate 1, 0. And it's 1, 0 because I'm going over 1 unit, and then I'm not going up any units on my run. And remember, with our coordinates, this is always the x first and the y second. So I move over on my x1, but I don't go up anywhere on my, I move over 1 from the origin, but I don't go up or down. So it's 1 in the positive, 0 there. So now I'm going to go to another point. And just to kind of get out of this space where all this is happening, I'm going to go up to this space right here. So we'll go to the coordinate. Let's see, where do we go? We went over 1, 2, 3. So we ran 3, and we went up 2. So this is the coordinate 3, 2. So now when we're looking at this, we want to know, now that we've got our two coordinates, we want to know how far have we gone from this coordinate to this one here. So I need to say, how far up have I gone? What's my rise? My rise is 2 units. So my rise, my slope, my rise is 2 over, and then it looks like I went 1, 2 units that way as well. So up 1, 2, run 1, 2. So 2 over 2, which gives me a slope of 1. And then my y-intercept, I look for where this thing crosses the y-axis. So I'm just going down here. Here's the y-axis here. So it's crossing right here at 0, -1. 0, -1. So that's where it crosses the y-axis. So the y, or sorry, not the y, we'll say the b is equal to -1. And we don't include this piece here because the y-intercept is simply asking at what value, the y-intercept is simply asking at what value on the y-axis does this thing cross. So it crosses at -1 there. So now we can just write our equation, y equals 1x minus 1. And here again, here is our slope, and here is our y-intercept. Let's take a look at the black line. So the black line, again, I'm going to just pick 2 spots. So this one down here is kind of out of the way, and this one down here is kind of out of the way. So I'm just picking them so I've got space to write here. You can pick any points that are on this line. Whoops. You could pick any points that are along this line that work for you. So you could have picked this one and this one if you wanted, or this one or this one. Like I said, I just chose these two just because it was out of the way. So I'm going to start by figuring out where is this coordinate. So here I can see that it's 4, so I've gone over 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, and down here it's -4. So here I'm at my coordinate. Sorry about this thing moving here. Well, I'm at my coordinate 4, -4. And then as I look for this one, I'm at the coordinate 6, -8. 6, -8. All right, so I want to figure out what is my rise and my run for this. So now this one, my rise, I'm going down this way. And it looks like I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going down in the negative direction 4 units. And then I'm going over 1, 2. So I'm going over in a +2. So for line, this is line M. So for line M, let me clean that up. For line M, my slope is -4 for my rise because I went down and then over +2. And if I simplify that, that is -2/1 or -2. Okay, great. So there's my slope right there, -2. And my y-intercept, again, I'm just going to kind of follow this right along here, and it looks like I'm crossing at 0, 4. So my b value in this one is +4. So here again, I have my slope is -2, and my y-intercept is 4. So when I write my equation, it is y equals -2x plus 4. Now, it looks like there's something that we could simplify there because they're both factorable by 2, but we actually just leave it like this. So y equals -2x plus 4, keeping our slope and our y-intercept in the same space. All right, so now we've got the red line. Let's do the red line next. All right, so the red line is a little bit trickier. So the red line is line L. So as we're looking at line L, we have to pick 2 points, right? So, all right, well, let's pick this point here and this point here. So my slope is my rise over my run. So my rise, as I'm going from one point to the next, my rise, I'm not going up or down anywhere. So my rise is actually 0. And my run, well, to go from this point to this point, I'm going 2 spaces. Okay, so my run is 2. Well, we know if we have 0 divided by anything, that answer is always 0. So we don't have a slope. We've got a slope of 0 in this. And then if we want to look for our y-intercept, our b value, we want to look to see where this crosses the y-axis. This crosses at 4. So that's 4. So here we go. So our equation is y equals 0x plus 4. So we've got our slope here. Our slope is 0. And our y-intercept is 4. So here we go. But we don't really write this. When we've got 0x, we just say, well, 0 times anything is 0, so we just write y equals +4. And this is our equation for the red line. Let me box off these as well. That's the equation for that one, and this is the equation for this one. Okay, so y equals 4. It's just the y-intercept. That's kind of cool. That makes it nice and easy. And now finally, let's look at our blue line. I'm going to choose this point here and this point here. All right, so I'm going to talk about my slope for line P. Line P. So my slope, I'm going to rise 1, 2, 3. So I rise 3. And my run, I'm not going back and forth anywhere. Not going back and forth anywhere. So that is just a 0. And 3 divided by 0, it's a little different than 0. This is a little different than this. This says this is not possible. We say that's undefined because it's not possible to divide 3 into 0 parts. So this is undefined. And if something is undefined, we kind of say that does not exist. So if we've got y equals if we've got y equals an undefined value times some value, and look, we're not even crossing the y-axis anywhere, right? We're not crossing this line anywhere, so it's plus 0. Well, we can't really have y equal anything. Y doesn't equal any of this because you can't multiply x by an undefined value. So this one's a little bit trickier. So what we end up doing for this is we end up saying, I'm sure there's something a little bit more mathematical behind this, but we end up saying x equals negative 4. And so you're probably saying, well, wait, where is x equaling negative 4 coming from? And that's really because we cross the x-axis at negative 4, and no matter what we pick for y, any of these coordinates along here, no matter what we pick, x is always negative 4. So since it's an undefined slope, it doesn't cross the y-axis, we just say this is the line x equals negative 4, and that's it for that one. So hopefully that helped with this set of equations as well, and finding the slopes for these, or the equations for these.